Example. Okay. So this is respiratory pigments. What are respiratory pigments? So simply, I'll give in one word. So respiratory pigments are color pigments that carry oxygen and CO2 from respiratory organs to the tissues and vice versa. Simple. Okay. So respiratory pigments are color substance present in blood, transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's all. Okay. That's all we need. Okay. So yeah. So the respiratory pigment varies in different animals. Okay. They are not present in all animals. First thing. Okay. And they are not similar. The respiratory pigments are not similar in all animals. Okay, so in different animals they are different. Okay, so these pigment includes cytochrome, the flavoprotein, and other colored molecules protein called chromoprotein, which are significant in the transport of respiratory gases and impart a different color to body fluid. Okay, so simply whatever the substance that is generally, if it is chemically a protein, so that is simply call it as chromoprotein. Chromos, remember, color. Right. And
Hi, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I am Madhusudan.
Madhu, okay.
Sir,
Voice
could you
is
tell
not
me? No, sir. Could you tell me the role of porphyrin in blood? Porphyrin.
Okay. Is it asked in the set examination?
In previous papers.
Okay, okay. So porphyrin is a part of the hemoglobin. There are 4 porphyrins present in hemoglobin. Okay. Each porphyrin contains an iron compound, iron atom. So that gives color. Okay, that is porphyrin is the iron containing heterocyclic organic compound that is present in each polypeptide chain of the globin protein. Okay, that compound actually contains the iron. So iron can bind with the oxygen. So porphyrin is a part of hemoglobin. Okay. Each hemoglobin contains 4 porphyrins. When a porphyrin contains an iron, then that is called heme. Okay. So if at all you have any doubt, you can message me after the class because time is very precious for me. Okay. Anyone? Okay. While I am explaining, if you don't understand anything, you can ask. If at all you have any doubt, okay, you can message me and call me. Okay, well, immediate. Okay, Madhu?
Okay, sir.
Right.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you.
Right. So, yeah. So, these are the different kinds of respiratory pigments. Okay, that are present that act as respiratory pigments: hemoglobin, hemocyanin, chlorochlorine, hemoerythrin, vinaglobin, echinochrome, molybdenum, vanadium. Actually, it is not. Vanadium. You can also call as vanadium. Vanadium is a metal ion. Okay. So neuroglobins and cytoglobins. Okay. Anyway, here you remember one thing is name and example. And metal ion, if at all present, metal ion and color also, we should concentrate on these things. Okay, so we are well aware of the hemoglobin. We have already discussed about the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in the blood plasma of invertebrates. Okay, So it is also known as erythropoietin, and in the RBCs, RBC vertebrates. Right. So anyway, it is a chromoprotein. Okay, fine. Yeah, in invertebrates, it is mainly present in annelids, some of crustaceans, some chironemus insects, and planarbus. Okay, so these are very, very exceptional invertebrates. Okay, so in which the hemoglobin is present, but most of the annelids, like earthworms and leech, all those. Okay, so they do contain not leech. So most of the earthworms, they contain uh, hemoglobin as respiratory pigment, and they are dissolved in uh, plasma of the blood. Okay, so its molecular weight is 68,000. Sometimes in some books it may also given as, so 68,500. Okay, so కొన్ని books లో 68,000 ఇస్తారు, కొన్నిట్లో 60. It's not important, nobody will ask. Okay, it is red in color, metallic group present is iron. We all know that, very, very clear. Already they explained చేశాను. Hemoglobin is composed of two components, namely a protein component called globin and a non-protein component called, it's not heme. ఇది మనకు ఆల్రెడీ నేను చెప్పాను. See, what you have asked is this one. If there is no iron, that is called porphyrin. If there is no iron, that is called porphyrin. If iron is present, that is called heme. Now you are watching is heme, and here you see this diagram is given correct. This is the quaternary structure of hemoglobin, in which two identical beta chains, two identical alpha chains are present, and each chain contains, ఇక్కడ లైట్ గా మీకు బ్లూ కలర్ లో కనిపిస్తుంది, this one and this one, this one and this one. Every chain contains a heme in which an iron atom is present. This is heme. Okay, ప్రతి ఒక్క పాలిపెప్టైడ్ చైన్ లో ఒక హీమ్ ఉంటుంది, ఒక హీమ్ లో ఒక ఐరన్ ఆటం ఉంటుంది. ఈ ఐరన్ ఆటం ఈస్ ద వన్ దట్ ఫార్మ్స్ బాండ్ విత్ ద ఆక్సిజన్. సో ఓవరాల్ గా మనకి హీమోగ్లోబిన్ అనేది మాక్సిమం 4 ఏమంటారు ఆక్సిజన్ ఇట్ కెన్ క్యారీ. ఇది ఆల్రెడీ నేను ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశాను. సో ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ నెక్స్ట్. రైట్, యా, ఆక్సి హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఇవన్నీ మనం ఆల్రెడీ చూసినాం. హీమోసైనిన్, ఓకే, ఇలాంటివి గుర్తుంచుకో. హీమోసైనిన్ పిగ్మెంట్ ఇస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాన్ హీమ్ రెస్పిరేటరీ పిగ్మెంట్, అంటే ఇలాంటి స్ట్రక్చర్ లేనటువంటి రెస్పిరేటరీ పిగ్మెంట్ అన్నమాట. రైట్, సో ఇట్ ఈస్ డిజాల్వ్డ్ ఇన్ ప్లాస్మా, అండ్ ఇది గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. హీమోసైనిన్ లో ఉండేటువంటి మెటలిక్ అయాన్ ఏంటి? సో దట్ ఈస్ కాపర్. రైట్, సో యా, ప్రోటీన్ కూడా ఉంటుంది. కాపర్ ప్లస్ ప్రోటీన్ కలిస్తేనే అది హీమోసైనిన్ అవుతుంది. The molecular hemocyanin large and consists of one copper atom associated with a peptide chain of 200 amino acids. 200 amino acids length ఉన్నటువంటి ఒక peptide అనేది ఉంటుంది. So this is the structure of hemocyanin. This is without oxygen. Okay, this is a single hemocyanin. This is another single hemocyanin. Both of them combinedly they can carry, each carries one oxygen molecule. Okay, what you should remember is, you should remember it contains copper. Okay, so that is important point, and it mostly, yeah, So it's color. Color is generally not asked. You might have seen Pelima. So most of the crustaceans contain the hemocyanin as a respiratory pigment. Okay, in mollusca, sepia, octopus, and helix. Okay, so these exhibit or possess hemocyanin as respiratory pigment. So in oxygenated form, it is bright blue, and in deoxygenated form, it is colorless. So maybe sometimes, maybe this may be asked, not directly as a part of question, may be asked. Anyway, so you have to remember hemocyanin, a copper-containing respiratory pigment, and it is present in crustacean, not arthropoda. Crustacea of arthropoda. So, and Limnius, Daphnia, all these are other arthropods. And mollusca, sepia, octopus, helix, bright blue color, right? That is about the hemocyanin. And then chloro. So you remember this thing, chloro. So which means, the green color. Right. So respiratory pigment containing iron. And I forgot to tell you, in hemoglobin, the iron is generally present in ferrous form. Okay, Fe +2 form. Here it is +3 form. It is present in plasma only. Almost equal to hemoglobin, it can carry the oxygens. Its distribution is restricted to 4 family of Polychaeta. Actually, generally in the examination, these families are asked: Sebellidae and Serpulidae. Okay, so these are also petal. They ask in these animals also the chlorochlorine is present as a respiratory, pigment. Okay, and it is light green in deoxygenated form and dark green in oxygenated form. Okay, so that is also we should remember, and it was discovered by Milne Edwards. Nobody will ask, and the molecular weight is not that much important. Okay, that's it. Chlorochlorine is present in the polychaetes, particularly 4 families. Okay, so these two. But in the most of out of these 4, these 2 are commonly given as an options: Sebellidae and Serpulidae. Sebella and Serpula are the famous examples. Okay, Chloramidae and Amphitritidae. Okay, so these are the examples or families. Okay, so then, yeah, this is a structure. No need to remember the structure, just notes lo untundani addition. And hemoerythrin. So it is a violet pigment in oxygenated form and colorless in deoxygenated form. It is found in corpuscle, means cells. Cells lo untundannamata, not dissolved in the plasma. Okay, so it is formed iron contained. So its metal ion is iron. That's how you remember that. So iron directly attached to the protein, and there is no porphyrin. Okay, fine. The molecular weight is yeah. So example, you remember Polychaetae and some brachiopods. Polychaeta and brachiopoda is the example for hemoerythrin. Okay, so the oxygen carrying capacity very, very low, 1/4 when compared with the hemoglobin, just like myoglobin. Okay, so hemoerythrin, hemo. Okay, you remember iron. Okay, and its color is violet pink color. Okay, and then example polychaetes and brachiopods. That's all. It is structure. no need to remember that. These are the various colors: hemoglobin, hemocyanin, chlorochlorine, hemoerythrin. Yeah, just now we have seen violet pink. Okay. Then pinaglobin. Yeah. So anyway, manganese containing respiratory pigment, color is brown. Okay, so plasma of some mollusk. Okay, so pinaglobin, it is manganese containing respiratory pigment. You remember? That's okay. Brown color. It is also, we should keep it in our mind. And then echinochrome. So the name itself is indicating that that is present in the echinodon. Yeah. So metal ion is iron and color is red. Okay. So coelomic fluid of sea urchins, that is echinodons. Echinochrome. Okay. It is a pigment present in sea urchin echinodons. Okay. Metal ion is iron, color is red. Okay. Right. So it is a structure. Yeah. Mole body. So its color is not specified in any book. Anyway, you just remember molybdenum is a pigment that is present in the holothurians, especially exclusively present in holothurians. Okay, which are generally famous as sea cucumbers. That is another respiratory pigment. Yeah, vanadium. So here it is also known as vanadium. Okay, so you can give it as vanadium. Okay, so vanadium chromogen, that means color containing respiratory pigment. Vanadium is a metal ion present. Okay, color slight green. Okay, so example, exclusively present in urochordates. Okay, we should remember this. It will come again in the vertebrate study. Okay, I మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి రీకలెక్ట్ చేస్తాను అక్కడ. ఓకే, మనకి ఎట్లా వర్టిబ్రేట్స్ చూస్తాం కాబట్టి అప్పుడు మళ్ళీ వస్తుంది. బట్ వెనేడియం అనేది మెటల్ అయన్, సమ్ సెల్స్ contain, blood cells contain the vanadium metal. Okay, so it directly binds with the oxygen. Okay, so due to the presence of vanadium, the blood color may be some very slight green, and these two are so not neuroglobins and cytoglobins are recently identified. We can not consider them as respiratory pigment. Okay, so presently they are believing that these two may some relation to storing of oxygen. Okay, so just like myoglobin, right? So it is a monomeric compound, just like myoglobin, but it doesn't contain porphyrin, and its structure is not completely studied. Just wait. Present in brain and the retina of human beings. Okay, and it is its main function. Neuroglobin main function is storage of oxygen, so that whenever the oxygen is not available or less oxygen is available, so these can supply the oxygen, but it is still not clearly studied, not well established. And cytoglobins, so cytoglobins are also believed to be present in all cells of our body, but still presently they are believing that they may store the we call the oxygen, but still they have to be studied well. Okay, so that is about the uh, respiratory pigments. You remember the name and metal ion, if possible, color and examples. You by heart them. You by heart them. Okay, particularly we should remember hemocyanin, chlorofluorine, hemoerythrin. These are mostly asked, respiratory pigments. Immunoglobulin, I have never seen. Molbodin, these are never seen. Okay, so anyway, you just their name and example. Just wait a minute. So that's it. That is respiratory pigments. Right. So now let's jump to actually next topic I would like to discuss about is blood composition, properties, and functions. Actually, the blood will come under histology. The histology topic. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. We all know that. But before going to study about the circulation, we should have minimum idea. We should revise the components of blood and its properties and its functions. So I'll just brush up the components of blood. Okay, very quickly. I'll try to complete this topic. So manaku circulation డిస్కస్ చేయడానికి ముందు మన హిస్టాలజీ అయిపోయి ఉంటే మనకు ఈజీగా ఉంటుంది. బట్ హిస్టాలజీ కాలేదు కాబట్టి ఒక్కసారి మనం మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి జస్ట్ ఒక రివిజన్ లాగా అనుకోండి, మీరే ఒకసారి చదివినట్టుగా అనుకోండి. రైట్. సో వీ షుడ్ ఆల్వేస్ రిమెంబర్ దిస్ లైన్. So blood is a general term, is fluid connective tissue. Okay, it's a kind of connective tissue, so which is available in liquid form or fluid form. Okay, so it contains cellular elements, that is blood cells and fluid matrix. We know each and every point from this topic. Okay, so wherever necessary I stress it out. Okay, so I'll just read the lines, you just listen. Yeah, study of blood and its disease is known as hematology. Okay, and we all know that hematopoiesis production of blood, or hemopoiesis you can also call it as, and hematopoiesis you can also call it. Production of blood cells or blood is known as hemopoiesis, right? So anyway, basically blood contains two components. Okay, one is cellular component, that is cellular substances, that is blood cells, and another one is plasma. So ఇది గుర్తుంచుకోండి, 45% of blood, okay, that is occupied by cellular components or blood cells. Blood cells occupy about 45%. ఇది గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. Right. So then out of which 44% are RBCs, 1% Buffy coat, a remaining part, okay, is platelets and WBC. That means that much number of RBCs are present. Okay, so what is Buffy coat? Buffy coat is whenever the blood is centrifuged. Okay, so generally the top layer forms, okay, which consists of these platelets and WBCs. Okay, that is Buffy coat. And the plasma. Okay, plasma is the liquid or fluid part of the, the blood. Okay, so 55% of blood is occupied by plasma. So out of which 91% is purely liquid. Okay, so most of it is water. Okay, about 9% of plasma contains solids, different kinds of solids. Here, ఒకసారి దీన్ని నేను ఫుల్ చేస్తాను, కనబడుతుందా నాకు చెప్పండి. ఇస్ ఇట్ విజిబుల్?
Yes, sir.
అంటే ఎక్స్పాండ్ అయిందమ్మా? హలో
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, 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 right, fine. Anyway, simply the blood is divided into two parts. Okay, so plasma, you can also call it as cellular component or formed elements. Okay, so formed elements includes, erythrocytes, leukocytes, and platelets. We all know that plasma includes here organic and inorganic substances. Actually, the organic substances includes amino acids, nutrients, proteins. Particularly, you remember these. So albumins, globulins, and fibrinogens. And in addition to heparin is also seen as a plasma protein. Okay, so anyway, so inorganic components include nitrogenous waste, electrolytes. Particularly, what are electrolytes of blood? Sodium, potassium, chlorides. These three are generally regarded as electrolytes, without which there is no life exists. Okay, so yeah, respiratory gases also seen, right? In the leukocyte component, we all know that leukocytes are divided into two types again. So that is granulocytes and agranulocytes. See, the granulocytes contain granules. Okay, neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils. Agranulocytes, lymphocytes, and monocytes. So agranulocytes రెండు ఉంటాయి. ఒక్కొక్కసారి అంటే చాలాసార్లు కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యేవాడిని, బట్ టీచ్ చేయడం అట్లా నోటెడ్ అయింది, బై హార్ట్ లాగా అయింది కాబట్టి. సో నేను అంటే వెన్ ఐ వాజ్ ఇన్ intermediate, I used to call it as Ben granulocytes, BEN, like this. B for basophils, E for eosinophils, and N for neutrophils. Ben granulocytes. Okay, remaining is the agranulocytes, just to remember. Okay. And then, yeah, so this is the structure of various expand ayindamma ippudu. Ramesh, is it visible? Full screen?
Okay,
visible?
okay, sir.
Okay.
Full screen, sir. Side ఇవి వస్తూనే ఉన్నాయి స్లైడ్స్.
స్లైడ్స్ కనబడుతున్నాయి?
స్లైడ్స్ కనిపిస్తున్నాయి. స్లైడ్స్ కనపడకుండా చేయండి.
అదే నేను స్లైడ్స్ కనబడకుండా ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ పెట్టినా, బట్ అది ఇట్స్ నాట్ వర్కింగ్. ఓకే,
అది పని చేయట్లే. అది ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది సార్ అక్కడ, ట్రాక్ చేయండి. ఇక్కడ స్లైడ్స్ దగ్గర ఆప్షన్
చేశాను, బట్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ వర్కింగ్.
ఓకే,
ఓకే, నేను స్లైడ్ షో ఆన్ చేసిన. ఎనీవే, స్లైడ్ చేంజ్ అయిందా ఒకసారి చూడండి.
ఓకే, ఓకే, చేంజ్ అవుతున్నాయి.
బ్లడ్ సెల్స్, రైట్.
ఓకే,
సో దీస్ ఆర్ ది డిఫరెంట్ సెల్స్, which are present. మనము సెల్ చూడగానే వి షుడ్ ఐడెంటిఫై. ఓకే, సో మెయిన్ గా ఎరిథ్రోసైట్స్ చూడగానే మనకు, సో తెలుగులో ఏమంటారంటే ద్విపుటాకారం ఉంటుంది, బైకాంకేవ్. ఈ షేప్ మనకి ఎట్లాగూ ఏర్పడుతుంది. రైట్, వైట్ బ్లడ్ సెల్స్ లోనే ఒకటి న్యూట్రోఫిల్ ను మనం ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి చూడగానే. అడగకపోవచ్చు, ఎవరైనా డయాగ్రామేటిక్ పొజిషన్ ఇస్తే మనం ఐడెంటిఫై చేసే పొజిషన్ లో ఉండాలి. మోనోసైట్స్ కి బీన్ షేప్డ్ ఆర్ హార్స్ షూ షేప్డ్ న్యూక్లియస్ ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ న్యూట్రోఫిల్ కి మినిమం 3 లోబ్స్ ఉంటాయి న్యూక్లియస్. అండ్ లింఫోసైట్స్ లో ఇంకా ఇక్కడ న్యూక్లియస్ చిన్నగా ఉంది, ఆల్మోస్ట్ సైటోప్లాజం నిండా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇస్నోఫిల్స్ లో 2 ఉంటాయి జనరల్లీ. ఓకే, అండ్ బేసోఫిల్ ఇలా ఉండదు. యాక్చువల్లీ ఇక్కడ ఇమేజ్ కరెక్ట్ ఇవ్వలేదు, బట్ దీనిలో కూడా లోబ్స్ లాగా ఉన్నట్టుగా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సో మనం ఈ మోనోసైట్ ని ఒకటి ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి, న్యూట్రోఫిల్ ని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి, లింఫోసైట్ ని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి. లింఫోసైట్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ న్యూక్లియస్ అనేది నిండా ఉంటుంది. రైట్, సో ఎనీవే, యా దిస్ ఈస్ సేమ్. సో నో నీడ్. రైట్, కొన్ని స్ట్రెస్ అవుట్ చేస్తాను అంతే. సో బ్లడ్ సెల్స్, ఆర్బిసిస్, ల్యూకోసైట్స్ అండ్ ప్లేట్లెట్స్ ఆర్ థ్రాంబోసైట్స్. ఓకే, సో ఎరిథ్రోసైట్స్, యా బైకాంకేవ్ ఒకటి ఇన్ హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్. అండ్ ఏ న్యూక్లియేట్ మళ్ళీ మీకు ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది, మమ్మేల్స్ చెప్పినప్పుడు మళ్ళీ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, వాటి యూనో సర్క్యులేటరీ సిస్టమ్ రిలేటెడ్ జనరల్ క్యారెక్టర్ చెప్పినప్పుడు మళ్ళీ వస్తుంది. సో డిస్క్ షేప్ ఉంటుంది, ఏ న్యూక్లియేట్. ఓకే, దెర్ ఇస్ నో న్యూక్లియస్ ఇన్ హ్యూమన్ ఆర్బిసి ఆర్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది మమ్మేల్స్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ సమ్ llama, okay, camel. Okay, remaining all the mammals, they do not contain the nucleus in their RBC. Anyway, so yeah, normal count, you remember this, 4.5 to 5.5 lakhs per millimeter, cubic millimeter. Okay, so and it is measured by hemocytometer. Okay, ఇది జనరల్ నాలెడ్జ్ క్వశ్చన్, మనకు ఐడియా ఉండాలి జువాలజీ స్టూడెంట్ కి. ఇట్ ఈస్ దేర్ నెంబర్ మెజర్డ్ కాదు, దేర్ కౌంట్ అన్నది. కౌంట్ ఈస్ బై హీమోసైటోమీటర్. బట్ ఇప్పటికి ఏమంటారు, ఆటోమేటిక్ యూనో కౌంటింగ్ మిషన్స్ వచ్చేసాయి. బట్ ఇంతకుముందు హీమోసైటోమీటర్స్ అనేటువంటి వాడేవారు. ఓకే, ద లైఫ్ స్పాన్, ఇది జీకే క్వశ్చన్ అమ్మా. అంటే తెలిసిన వాళ్ళకు ఓకే, తెలియని వాళ్ళకు మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి రిమైండ్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఇది చాలా సార్లు అడిగిన క్వశ్చన్, ఇది జువాలజీలో అడగరు, బట్ జనరల్ స్టడీస్ లో యాజ్ ఎ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ అందరికీ ఇచ్చినట్టుగా మనకు ఇస్తారు కాబట్టి మనం బెనిఫిట్ పొందుతాం. ఓకే, సో ద లైఫ్ స్పాన్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్బిసి ఇస్ 120 days. యా, సో ఆర్బిసి కంటే హీమోగ్లోబిన్, అందువల్లనే అవి రెడ్ కలర్ లో ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, సో టోటల్ హీమోగ్లోబిన్ యా, ఆర్బిసి ఇస్ ప్రొడ్యూస్డ్ in bone marrow by a process called erythropoiesis. Production of red blood cells is known as erythropoiesis. Yeah, in adult human being, they are produced by the bone marrow just like other blood cells. In embryonic stage, liver and spleen. Okay, particularly you remember liver. Spleen also contribute to some extent. In embryonic stage, the RBCs are produced. Not only RBCs, most of the blood cells are. Most of the blood cells are also produced from the liver. Anyway, yeah, the immature nucleated RBCs called reticulocytes. Not only reticulocytes, there are some other stages are also. You can erythroblasts, reticulocytes, normoblasts, okay, proerythroblast. But these two are the right. So erythroblasts, we have here it in erythroblastosis fetalis. So in which the hemolysis takes place and immature due to continuous need. Okay, the bone marrow to supply the RBCs within time. Okay, they produce immature blood cells. They are called erythroblasts. Okay, so in fetus it occurs. That's why that is called as the erythroblastosis fetalis. Right. So then, and you remember in stem cells topic. Okay, erythropoiesis, leukopoiesis వస్తుంది అక్కడ ఇవన్నీ వస్తాయి. So leukocytes, yeah, they're large in size, oval in shape. Yeah, cell contain nuclei and some of them have granules. Okay, normal count you should take 4,000 to 10,000 అని జనరల్గా చెప్తాం. 4,000 to 11,000 is normal. Okay, per cubic millimeters. Yeah, there are two types of blood cells are there, granulocytes and agranulocytes. So granulocytes includes, yeah, when granulocytes, neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils. Agranulocytes includes lymphocytes and monocytes. Right. So you should concentrate on this name, neutrophils. So it is most abundant. This is important. Most abundant WBC is neutrophils. Okay, it occupies about 35 actually. Anyway, so 40 to 70% of WBCs are neutrophils, and these are phagocytic in nature. These are phagocytic in nature. Okay, I have told you many times that it is the first line of defense against not only bacteria but also against all microbes which enter into our body. That's why they are regarded as microscopic policemen of our body or scavengers of our body and good. Okay, so phagocytosis by neutrophils is facilitated by opsonation. So I told you in the immunology. So whenever a microbe is attacked by the antibodies, okay, so the antibodies, they cannot kill the microbe, they just immobilize. Okay, so whenever many number of antibodies or some of the antibodies, they surround the pathogen, that is easily identified by the neutrophils. Okay, so then the neutrophils go and engulf or eat the total immune complex, including antibodies. That is called opsonation. Anyway, their lifespan is 6 hours. Eosinophils, they are present very less in number, 1 to 4% of total WBCs. Yeah, so it destroys parasites and utilizes histamine release during allergic reactions. So it is increased in ఇది గుర్తుంచుకోవాలమ్మా, ఇది అడిగింది, ఇది చాలా సార్లు అలర్జిక్ రియాక్షన్స్ అప్పుడు కానీ పారాసైటిక్ ఇన్ఫెస్టేషన్ జరిగినప్పుడు కానీ విచ్ సెల్స్ ఆర్ ఇంక్రీజ్, లేదా ఒక బ్లడ్ లో నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ eosinophils ఆర్ మోర్, ఇది నెట్ లో అడిగింది. ఓకే, ఈజీ క్వశ్చన్. సో what might be the reason? So maybe helminthic, especially helminthic parasitic infestation and allergic reactions. Okay, so why the name is neutrophil and eosinophil? So they give specific color when neutral dyes are added while observing under microscope. And here, if we use eosin dye, it will give a particular color, so are colorful. It will be colorful. So that's why the name eosinophil. They are also known as acidophils. What do you mean by acidophils? Acidophil means they give color when acid dyes are added. And acid natured dyes addition color is there. Acidophil. Right. So then basophils, yeah, same reason, name and the picture. They are very, very less in number. Basophils are the least number of blood cells, WBCs. So they contain basophilic granules. It is include mast cells in connective tissue. Okay, it contains histamine. Yes, histamine, heparin, serotonin. So నిన్న మీకు సెట్ ఎగ్జామ్ లో అడిగినట ఇది మన ఫస్ట్ ఇమీడియట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ హైపర్ సెన్సిటివిటీ కదా. సో అందులో mast cells and basophils. Okay, both are responsible for the type 1 type of hypersensitivity. So these basophils contain granules in which histamine, heparin, and serotonin are the components that are present, which cause the allergy whenever allergic condition. Okay, so they give particular color or colorful when we add basic dye. Okay, right. So that is about the granulocytes, and we have discussed about the lymphocytes very sufficient in yeah. So lymphocytes, they occupy about 20 to 40% of total 15 to 30 actually. Okay, 20 to 40%. It is the smallest WBC. Okay, you can remember this. There are two types of lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes are they participate humoral immunity, and T lymphocytes they participate cell-mediated immunity. We have already discussed many types in immunology. And last one is monocytes. We have also discussed well enough about the monocytes. So they occupy about 2 to 8% of total WBCs, and they have horseshoe shaped or kidney shape. ఏది అడిగినా అని కరెక్ట్, కాబట్టి షేప్ అలా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ లార్జెస్ట్ WBC. ఎప్పుడు మర్చిపోయాను ఒకటి. See, neutrophils are polymorphonuclear WBCs. అంటే వాటి యొక్క న్యూక్లియస్ అనేది డిఫరెంట్ షేప్స్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి వాటిని పాలిమార్ఫోన్యూక్లియర్ సెల్స్ అని పిలుస్తాం. ఇక్కడ మోనోసైట్స్ అనేటువంటి లింఫోసైట్స్ అండ్ మోనోసైట్స్, దే ఆర్ మోనోమార్ఫో, ముఖ్యంగా మోనోసైట్స్ మోనోమార్ఫోన్యూక్లియర్ ఫాగోసైట్స్ అని కూడా పిలుస్తారు. ఓకే, సో it differentiates into macrophage as it enters the tissues which express major histocompatibility complex in way. మనం ఇది ఆల్రెడీ చాలా సార్లు తెలుసుకున్నాం. Macrophages in different parts of body are given different names. Puffer cells in liver, osteoclasts in bone, okay, microglia in brain and spinal cord, and so yeah, histiocytes in connective tissue, dust cells. Okay, so it is ఒక పుస్తకంలో ఇచ్చారు, అల్వియోలర్ మైక్రోఫేజెస్ అంటారు. ఒకవేళ డస్ట్ సెల్స్ అని ఇస్తే అది లంగ్స్ లో గుర్తుంచుకోండి. అండ్ మిసాంజియల్ సెల్స్ ఇన్ ఇన్ కిడ్నీస్. ఓకే, అవన్నీ అక్కడ మనం డిస్కస్ చేసినాం. రైట్, సో ఏంటి అసలు మోనోసైట్స్ అనేటువంటి లార్జెస్ట్ WBCs? They are the phagocytes. major phagocytic cells. These are major phagocytic cells. They are important. They are amoeboid. They show amoeboid movement. And I should remind you one term that is diapedesis. దీన్ని తెలుగులో చెప్తాను ఆల్రెడీ నేను ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశాను. వెనెవర్ అంటే మనకి ఎప్పుడన్నా ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ అయినప్పుడు సర్క్యులేషన్ లో ఉన్న మోనోసైట్స్ అనేటువంటి బ్లడ్ వెజల్స్ వాల్స్ ని క్రాస్ చేసి అవి టిష్యూలోకి వెళ్ళిపోతాయి. సో ఆ బ్లడ్ వెజల్ వాల్ లో ఉన్న సెల్స్ మధ్యలో స్క్వీజ్ అయ్యి అవి టిష్యూలో ఎంటర్ అయ్యే మెకానిజం ని డయాబెటిస్ అంటాం. ఓకే, క్రాసింగ్ ఆఫ్ monocytes and neutrophils both. Okay, blood vessel wall, okay, is known as diabetes. Okay, that is about the blood cells. Plasma. So plasma, blood minus blood cells is equal to plasma. Okay, it is the liquid part of the blood. It is composed of 90 to 92%. Okay, that is occupied, that contains plasma lo 90 నుంచి 92% వాటర్. Okay, 7 to 9 or 8% plasma proteins, different kinds of plasma proteins are present, and 1 to 2% other substances like glucose, amino, electrolytes, ammonia, carbons, vitamins, all are present. So anyway, when it is centrifuged, okay, so it is yellowish in color. Okay, okay, yeah, so plasma proteins మళ్ళీ ఆస్మాసిస్ లో వస్తుంది. Plasma proteins are meant for their own functions, okay, like heparin, prostaglandin, albumins, globulins. Okay, their own generally they are transported from one place to another place to act a particular task in particular cell. But here there is another function also for plasma proteins. You remember this. This is very, very important. Okay, osmotic pressure. Okay, due to the presence of plasma proteins only. Okay, so the cell components are reached to the tissues, and at the same time, the reached components, blood components are reached to the tissue. The reached components are again successfully reabsorbed into the blood capillaries. And one more important thing is, in urine formation, this osmotic pressure, it plays very, very, very crucial role. Okay, so in that way, blood plasma proteins, they will have their own individual function. Okay, so in addition to that, creating osmotic pressure is very, very important. Okay, yeah, so blood coagulation factors are also plasma proteins. Okay, so they cause viscosity, they give viscosity to the blood. Okay, they are responsible for the generation of blood pressure. Okay, some are like globulins, gamma globulins, which are nothing but the antibodies. Okay, they are defensive in action. Okay, some are useful in the transport of gases like oxygen and CO2, particularly CO2. Okay, so that is about the plasma proteins. So this point is not needed. So then, yeah, so albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, electrolytes, sodium, potassium chloride, calcium, and bicarbonate. These are not electrolytes, but these are Very, very important. Okay, of course, calcium is also, it is very, very needed for the nervous system to function. Okay, so anyway, these are the electrolytes. Yeah, nutrients, we all know that, amino acid, fatty acid, vitamins, and minerals. Yeah, waste products, urea, uric acid, creatinine. Okay, so that is about the solid content of the plasma. Okay, so properties of blood. So blood, it occupies about 7 to 9% of total body weight. That means 79 ml per kg body weight. So total blood is present in an adult human being is about 5 liters or 5 to 5.5 liters, rarely 6 liters. So viscosity, it is, I don't know, even I don't know what is viscosity. I have to explore it. Anyway, its viscosity value is 3.5 to 5.5. Specific gravity is 0.045 to 1.06. Okay, so pH should remember. So it is 7.4, slightly alkaline. Okay, venous blood has low pH than the arterial blood as. So simple logic. ఎందుకు venous blood తక్కువ pH కలిగి ఉంటుంది, ఎందుకు arterial blood is slightly alkaline? Why? What may be the reason? Simple, due to the presence of CO2. CO2, it mixes with the water and it produces the H plus ions or H2CO2 sinking. So that is the reason. Yeah, normal body temperature is aspartic 25 color due to hemoglobin. Right. So these are some of the properties. Functions. Yeah. So functions of blood. Just like, without blood, there is no transport of anything. Everything is transported through the blood. Simple. Okay. Alkalize. Okay. It may be hormones. It may be digested food material. It may be respiratory gases. Okay. And even from the various excretory organs or from the tissues, okay, the excretory products are transported to the excretory organs. Okay, so that is we all know that. Okay, so regulation or homeostasis. You remember, blood play an important role in the maintenance of the equal temperature throughout the body. Okay, see, generally the all cells will produce the heat. Okay, particularly the muscles. Okay, the muscles, they produce major heat in our body. Okay, so every cell undergoes oxidative phosphorylation that generate heat. Okay, so throughout the body, the heat, the temperature is balanced equally by the blood. Okay, that is important. Okay, so distribution of heat throughout the body is, and maintenance of electrolyte balance. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, acid base balance or electrolyte balance. ఇది మనం జువాలజీలో చదువుకోం కానీ బయోకెమిస్ట్రీలో దిస్ ఇస్ వెరీ, వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ టాపిక్. సో బాడీలో యాసిడ్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉండకూడదు, సో బేస్ కంటెంట్ కూడా ఎక్కువ ఉండకూడదు. సో హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఇఫ్ యు టేక్, విచ్ యాక్ట్స్ యాజ్ ఎ వెరీ, 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 వెరీ గుడ్ బఫర్. ఓకే, ఎక్కడైనా ఆక్సిజన్ కంటెంట్, acid content ఎక్కువగా it will take up and neutralize. Okay, అది base అయినా acid అయినా. So acid base balance in the body fluids is balanced by the blood. Okay, with the help of particularly hemoglobin. Okay, so that is, and the protection. So we all know that blood contains the neutrophils and the monocytes. Okay, and T helpers, lymphocytes. Okay, and antibodies are also present. Okay, so in that way, it is the main one of the important protection system of our body from the pathogens and the microorganisms that enter into our body. Okay, so this is simply roughly about the components of blood or composition of blood. Okay, just ఒకసారి చూసుకుంటే అయిపోతుంది. సో నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ ఏంటి అంటే మనకు hemostasis. So simply stopping bleeding is known as hemostasis. Okay, so whenever any damage or wound is occurred, okay, so the bleeding must be stopped, otherwise the animal will die if the bleeding is not stopped. Okay, so that phenomena is actually known as hemostasis. There is a difference between blood clotting and hemostasis. Blood clotting is different. Blood clotting is a part of hemostasis. Okay, you should remember this term, very, very important. Okay, so stoppage of bleeding or arrest of bleeding is known as hemostasis. Okay, so when a blood vessel is injured, the injury initiates a series of reactions resulting in hemostasis. Okay, so it occurs in 3 stages. One is vasoconstriction, platelet plug formation, coagulation of blood. So ఇది hemostasis లో భాగం. Okay, so vasoconstriction, platelet plug formation, coagulation. Vasoconstriction and here immediately after injury the blood vessel constricts and decreases the loss of blood from damages portion. Okay, అంతేనా సింపుల్ గా ఒక లైన్ గుర్తుంచుకుందాం, అంత పెద్ద అవసరం లేదు. వాసోకన్స్ట్రిక్షన్ అంటే ఏం లేదు, blood vessel, okay, constriction of blood vessel is vasoconstriction. So in that way some amount of bleeding is stopped. Ante, okay, just additional matter. Okay, so vasoconstriction అంటే ఏదన్నా wound అయినప్పుడు దెబ్బ తాకినప్పుడు బ్లడ్ వెసల్ అనేది కాన్స్ట్రిక్ట్ అవుతుంది, దానివల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, కొంత బ్లీడింగ్ అనేది స్పీడ్ తగ్గిపోతుంది, కొంత డ్యామేజ్ అనేది తగ్గుతుంది. ఓకే, సో ఇదంతా ప్రాసెస్ ఎట్లా అవుతుంది అనేది మనకు పెద్ద అవసరం లేదు, రైట్. సో దెన్ platelet plug formation. See, platelets get adhered to the collagen of ruptured blood vessel and secrete adenosine diphosphate and thromboxane. Thromboxane A. These two substances attract more and more platelets and activate them. All these platelets aggregate together and form a loose temporary platelet plug. Temporary గా అక్కడ డ్యామేజ్ అయిన దగ్గర డ్యామేజ్ అయినటువంటి హోల్ అయినటువంటి బ్లడ్ వెసల్ ని టెంపరీగా మూసివేయడం ప్లేట్లెట్ ప్లగ్ ఫార్మేషన్. ఓకే, సో ఆర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో టెంపరీ hemostatic plug which close the ruptured vessel and prevent further blood loss. కొంచెం బ్లడ్ లాస్ ని తగ్గిస్తుంది. And the platelet aggregation is accelerated by platelet activating factor is present in the blood. Okay, so I'll stop here. You by heart these factors. Anyway, next stage is coagulation of blood. Coagulation of blood occurs through a series of reactions due to the activation of a group of substances necessary for clotting are called clotting factors. Okay, there are 13 factors. మీరు ఇవి బై హార్ట్ చేయాలన్నమాట. ఓకే, దే ఆర్ జనరల్లీ ఇండికేటెడ్ బై రోమన్ క్యాపిటల్స్. ఓకే, సో ఫ్యాక్టర్ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 13. ఓకే, సో దీస్ ఆర్ ది ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. ఫ్యాక్టర్ 1 5 నుంచి, ఫ్యాక్టర్ 2 ప్రోథ్రామిన్, ఫ్యాక్టర్ 3 టిష్యూ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అని అంటారు, దీన్నే టిష్యూలో ఉంటుంది, ఎవ్రీ టిష్యూలో థ్రాంబోప్లాస్టిక్. ఫ్యాక్టర్ 4 కాల్షియం గుర్తుంచుకోండి, ఇది అడిగే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. What is the name of the factor? Blood clotting factor 4 is calcium. Okay, so factor 5 is label factor. Factor 6. Okay, actually, there is no specific name for the factor 6. Actually, it is removed. It is very sixth factor VA. What is VA? Activated fifth factor. So level factor దీన్నే మనము ప్రో యాక్సిలరిన్ అని కూడా అంటాం. ప్రో యాక్సిలరిన్, and this is, you can consider as యాక్సిలరిన్. సిక్స్త్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అనేది తీసేసేది ఇప్పుడు. బట్ ఏంటిది అంటే ఎందుకు దాన్ని అట్లా సిక్స్త్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అనుకుంటారంటే ఈ ప్రో యాక్సిలరీన్ యాక్టివేట్ అయ్యిందని వాళ్ళు ఐడెంటిఫై చేసారు. సో దట్ ఈస్ యాక్సిలరిన్, దట్ ఈస్ 5A, సిక్స్త్ ఫ్యాక్టర్. అండ్ దెన్ సెవెంత్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ స్టేబుల్ ఫ్యాక్టర్. ఓకే, ఎయిత్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఇస్ అండ్ AHF అంటాం దీన్ని, అండ్ AHG అని కూడా అనొచ్చు. అండ్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్, హిమోఫిలిక్ globulin or anti-hemophilic factor. And this is important. Ninth factor, plasma thromboplastic component. Okay, Christmas factor and gunanta. Okay, so 10th one is Stewart-Hoover factor, and 11th one is PTA, plasma thromboplastic antecedent. 12th one is Hegman factor, and this is last one you should remember, fibrin stabilizing factor. Okay, I'm stopping here. Okay, ఈ 13 మీరు బై హార్ట్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, సో అట్లీస్ట్ అండర్లైన్ చేసి ఈ మూడు అన్న గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. ఓకే, 8th మనకి హిమోఫిలియల్ వస్తుంది. 8th and 9th factors, they play an important role in hemophilia. Okay, I'm stopping. Let's continue tomorrow.